Good job. Did this group
Um,
show us their handout?
yes. One
Okay.
second.
Super. All right.
Okay, so here's our handout for the first page, and this is our second page.
Okay.
And
Good
conclude
job.
our presentation for today. Thank you.
Good job. You bet. All right. I just turned on the recorder. Someone needs to help me remember. My memory is not good for turning that recorder on. Okay. Um, the next group is group 3 with Instagram.
Can you hear me, Professor?
We can.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone.
Uh-huh.
We're group three, and our team members consist of Alan, Jocelyn, Joseph, Jenny O, Jenny N, and Elizabeth. And this is our social media presentation about Instagram. This is our overview of what we'll be going over today, which are our introduction, the purpose of Instagram, the steps, educating, promoting, and key takeaways of Instagram. So now I'll pass it to Alan, who will be presenting first.
Hello, everyone. Oh, is it there?
Is your camera working, Alan?
Yeah. I was just the video was loading here. Let me show.
Okay. No
Sorry.
problem.
Is it okay if I'm wearing a hat?
It's okay.
All right, you can see me.
I'm from Texas. I love baseball caps.
Great. You all can see me?
We can see you.
Okay. Hi guys, my name is Alan McIntosh. We have my group is group 3. We have Instagram. Um, so about Instagram, let's see. Um, I'm just gathering my thoughts here. Give me one second. So with Instagram, social media has become, as it says here, an important communication tool in healthcare. And so ours is Instagram, and it's an important way for healthcare organizations to share information and reach large groups of people and audiences very quickly. Many hospitals, clinics, healthcare professionals, other people use social media to reach out to and communicate with their own users and also try to gain new users. Um, they share medical knowledge, information on new medications, and um, other avenues that help with whatever the circumstances. It could be cancer or it could be any kind of health issues, whether it's something like COVID-19. But they use these avenues to connect with patients on these platforms to share information that's important and other information that might be necessary. Because Instagram focuses on visual content like pictures and videos and reels, it's important to connect with the people in that way and use what is relevant. Instagram is really relevant with visuals. So, unlike LinkedIn or other things where it's more informational based, it's more off of catching the user by what's shown just firsthand when you see the visual presentation. So in this, we'll be exploring how those different devices are used and how the visuals really capture the audience and increase engagement. Next slide.
Okay, hello, my name's Jocelyn, and I'll be talking about the purpose of
Oh, I thought I had
Instagram
one.
and social media.
Thanks, Jocelyn.
Thank you, Alan.
One more or no? I thought one
No,
more.
you can leave it there. Yeah, you can leave it there. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
All right. So the purpose of social media, in my opinion, would be allowing individuals to share like information, build communities, and interact globally. And it also works as a purpose for networking. It serves as a tool for personal expression, entertainment, news, like news outlet, and business marketing. So the uses of Instagram are to share photos, videos, and stories through posts that disappear after 24 hours, as well as engage with other people and follow creators or brands, especially for people like celebrities or brands that you like or fast food places that you like, etc. And then as for uses of Instagram, the use of Instagram in healthcare is for educating the public about prevention and chronic disease management. As shown in the illustration above of the text, I found Dignity Health on Instagram and I took a screenshot of their posts that they've recently posted. And it's talking about eating heart healthy foods and what does it really mean. It's talking about menopause for women, and they just share posts, and sometimes they share recipes of food that is remotely better than fast food, I guess. And then also showcasing staff, patients, success stories, and services, obviously according to in line with HIPAA rules. The post that's above the text is a post from also Dignity Health, where they're showcasing their nurses for Nurse Week and taking pictures and just showing the community that they're really a family and that they're all really connected and that they work as a team. Lastly, building trust within the community and increasing engagement. Another post that was posted June 29th, 2021 is just showcasing basically that they're a community and that they celebrate things like Pride Week and they celebrate other occasions for everybody, and they just want to showcase it to their patients so that they feel more comfortable coming in when they come in for an appointment. And now I'll be passing it on to how to make an Instagram profile step by step. Thank you.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Hi, everyone. My name is Joseph, and I'll be discussing how consumer and healthcare organizations can build a strong presence on Instagram while meeting their privacy responsibilities. Social media creates valuable opportunities for outreach and engagement, but it also requires careful planning and ethical awareness. Next slide, please. So here's a simple guide to creating an Instagram account. Once established, organizations can share content and interact with their audience. For healthcare organizations, a polished profile builds credibility, it demonstrates professionalism, and it strengthens community trust. Next slide. Privacy settings are important to consider. Private accounts and restricted access can reduce visibility. Privacy controls may also impact an organization's marketing reach. However, organizations can still grow by promoting community partnerships, maintaining consistent branding, and being transparent with their data practices. Ultimately, success on Instagram in healthcare depends on balancing strategic outreach with a strong commitment to privacy and trust. What I want you to take as an important factor is really an organization's ability to build those partnerships. Overall, it's going to bring down those barriers, welcome new viewers, and just be more trusting of the content that's within the organization's Instagram profile. Passing it on to Jenny O.
Thank you, Joseph. So I'll be talking about educating viewers. Can you go to the next slide? Thank you. So when we talk about educating the viewers in healthcare, social media has become a powerful tool for sharing information. So Instagram allows for organizations and providers to communicate healthcare information in a way that's easier for the public to understand. And one of the key benefits is that helps healthcare organizations to stay competitive while also improving efficiency through the automation and online communication. This also enhances the patient experience by making information easier to access and understand. For example, online services and remote access allows patients to learn about symptoms, treatments, or preventive care. Another important advantage is that Instagram simplifies healthcare information. It makes it more accessible to a wider public. This also helps promote preventive care since patients can learn about healthy behaviors and early warnings before problems become serious. And this approach is also supported by data. So around 70% of physicians now have a social presence, and about 60% of in the US adults say that they use social media to find healthcare information. Next slide, please. So when we talk about promotion and educating viewers, an example is Long Beach. So I have 3 slides over here where healthcare organizations promote their events and resources through Instagram. For example, the Flying Samaritans, they use this workshop was done yesterday and on how to take vitals. And another one, two of the last ones are by the Long Beach Healthcare and Wellness Centers, which is the healthcare uh, self-healthcare for midterms and coming this Thursday, and also different workshops for anxiety tools. Next slide, please. So this is what others are doing too. Some of them, they highlight milestones, awareness campaigns, and also post policy updates and other prevention strategies. And I'll pass on to Jenny. Thank you.
Hello, it's me again, Jenny, and I'll be talking and going over promoting healthcare. And since Instagram has such a big audience, it's really a great tool to connect with others and communities, especially for those who are interested in healthcare related content. So when healthcare organizations post educational content like short videos and health tips, daily reminders on their stories, or posting infographics about medical topics, this can really improve health literacy, especially for users and people who are lurking around their feed on Instagram. And this can also establish credibility within the company since now people can rely and view the company as a reliable source. And here are just some examples that I found from Instagram of healthcare companies promoting their health services, news, and information, such as from Chalk or the CDC and UCLA Health. And now I'll pass it on to Elizabeth, who will be talking about the key takeaways.
Thank you, Jenny. Hi, everybody. My name is Elizabeth, and I'll be summarizing a few of the key takeaways. So, Instagram is a very large platform that allows for a variety of individuals to connect in real time. It also allows for different posting options, such as photo posting, short videos, such as Reels, that still allow for a large informative content to viewers and audiences to connect. And since Instagram is free, it is very cost effective. It's a tool that allows for prompt deliveries for organizations and supports the minimal spending amount for organizations while still keeping the quality. And many organizations are able to provide prompt updates and specific to healthcare. This can look as, healthcare fairs such as vaccines, pop-ups. It allows for communities to quickly get new alerts if there's anything maybe free. For example, I've seen some resources within healthcare of food banks or COVID-19 testing during the COVID pandemic. And these are just a few of those examples. Next slide, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Elizabeth. Here are references, and here is our one-page handout, and thank you for everyone for tuning in to our presentation.
Good job.
Good job, team.
Hey, very good job. Okay. Let's see. We're down to our last group for tonight, I think. So that is group 4 with TikTok.
Sorry, that's us, but my voice is really bad.
Okay, understand. And I feel bad for you.
I know, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'm
it's
trying
not
my
your fault.
best.
Believe me, I'm sure you'd rather not.
Where is my presentation? Mhm. Okay. Hi, everyone. We are group number 4, and this is a step-by-step guide to TikTok in healthcare. Rima, are you there?
Ah, yes, sorry guys. Okay, so introduction to TikTok.
Show yourself on the screen if
Oh, sorry.
if you're able. That's okay.
Um,
Thank you.
I
Thank
don't know if
you.
you can. Okay.
Only times I get to see what y'all look like, you know?
Okay, so most people know that TikTok is for entertainment, but it's also a major source of information. It has over 1 billion users worldwide and is one of the most downloaded apps. Many young people say that they get health advice from TikTok. It also shows that TikTok is not only just for fun videos, it's a powerful tool for sharing health information. Next slide.
Griselda, are you there?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Sorry. It's sorry. We're gonna go through the directions on how to open up a TikTok account. So if you guys have an Android, you would go on Google Play, and then with an iPhone, you would go on the App Store and download it. Once the app is downloaded, you would hit sign up, and you would either use an email, you can sign up through using Facebook, your Apple account, or your Google account. Some of the information that is required to open up a TikTok account is your name, birthday, email or phone number, a username, and a password. Next slide. Um, then to set up your profile, you would need to add a profile picture, bio, or any link if needs to be attached. Since we're talking about healthcare administration, it would be suggested to open up a business to change your account to a business account to kind of give you some analytics and information about your views and all that information. Next.
Hello, everyone. Now that we've covered how TikTok works, we're going to be looking into the role of healthcare. So healthcare professionals use TikTok to share short videos. Um, these videos are about patient education, mental health awareness, and public health campaigns. These short videos formatted to help medical information be easier to understand, especially for younger audience. The healthcare organizations are drawn to the platform because of their wide reach and its ability to build trust through direct communication with the public. Research also show that TikTok is increasingly being used to communicate health information and support patient education. I went ahead and included a screenshot here of Dr. Alchain, who shares educational content about digestive health on TikTok. So now we're going to be looking at real examples of TikTok being used in healthcare.
Hello everyone, this is Jaden. In this slide, I will talk about the current healthcare example on TikTok. Many healthcare organizations are now using TikTok to share health information with the public. Hospitals often post video explaining symptoms, prevention, and general wellness tips in ways that are easy to understand. And doctors and nurses also share like day in the life videos to show what working in healthcare is like. Therapists sometimes post mental health tips and coping strategies. These short videos help make health information more accessible to a wider audience. Next slide, please. And in this slide, I will talk about the compliance and HIPAA. Even though TikTok can be helpful, healthcare workers must be very careful about patient privacy. Under HIPAA, they cannot share patient names, phrases, or any medical information that could identify a patient. Healthcare professionals should also get permission before filming in clinical settings and make sure any medical information they post is accurate to avoid spreading misinformation. Next slide, please. In this slide, I will be presenting the ethics and the professionalism. Healthcare professionals also need to consider ethics when posting online. Medical information should not be exaggerated or simplified in a misleading way. Professionals should maintain clear boundaries between personal and professional content and not focus on sharing accurate evidence-based information. Many also include a disclaimer that the video is for education only and not medical advice. Next slide, please.
So for TikTok challenges are trends where people post videos using the same hashtag. Healthcare organizations can use these challenges to promote healthy habits. Um, for example, they can create challenges and hashtags. Sorry, hand wash, hydration, fitness, or mental health awareness. This helps spread health messages, and it's a fun way, and it helps them get engaged. Next slide, please. TikTok can also be used to promote healthcare services. Organizations can post tips about preventive care, explain when to seek medical help, and clear up common myths. They can also introduce staff members and show behind the scenes content, and this helps build trust within the community. Next slide, please. In summary, TikTok is a strong tool for health communication, and it helps make medical information easy to understand, and it can increase awareness for healthy behavior. And however, healthcare organizations must protect patient privacy and share accurate information. Thank you.
Thank you. And these are our references.
Okay. Good job. Did you show us your flyer? I can't remember. Yes, no?
Not yet. Let me show it right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super. All right. Oh, okay. Good job. Very colorful. All righty. One second. Okay. All right. All of the groups did a good job. And every time I have this, and I have it every semester, I learn something I didn't know. And that's always a fun thing. So I know that each of y'all, I'm sure, learned something about at least one of them that you didn't know. So I really love this because you'll be surprised as young people entering the workforce, the company is going to make an assumption that you know everything about every social media platform. And all of a sudden it's going to become your responsibility. So it's a really good thing to pack this away in your memory banks. One more time, everybody in the class has to comment on every other presentation. So every person will comment on 4 presentations, not on your own, just the other 4. Okay, any questions on all that? All right, what we're going to do now is I'm going to go over the proposal handout that you'll be completing for your proposal. So let me share that. Give me just a second. Sure, it's still up on my computer. Yeah, here it is. Okay. Now, for your proposal handout, for what you're going to turn in for your proposal, it's actually going to be this handout. And remember that you have to have citations, references in the text of the handout, as well as a reference list at the back. You're responsible for 3 per person. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to tell me which 3 each person did. That's just the total number. So if there's 6 members in your group, then you need 18 references. And I don't care who does which one. Your references, remember, in APA are alphabetized, not in the order that they were that you use them, but alphabetized overall at the back. And every single one needs to be referenced inside the text also. Now, a little explanation. I have y'all do this because it's a big part of marketing is knowing how to promote your business. This business plan is actually in the back of the marketing book. That's where I got it from. And so it's a big part of the class. Now, the executive summary, that actually can't be done until the rest of the proposal is complete. Because what the executive summary is a summary of everything in the back, the whole proposal. So usually an executive summary is 3 pages long, approximately 2 to 3 pages. And what it's used for is like if you're going to try to get people to buy into your company, try to get stockholder people to buy stock or buy shares, or if you're going to try to get money from the bank, then what they're going to do first is they're going to look at the executive summary, which has all the main points from the longer proposal. And they can decide from that whether or not they want to look any further. So your executive summary has to have mainly the main points of the rest of your proposal. So as you look at this, number 1 is what do I include? What I want to have there is for you to just give me a brief description of what your company is. You know, if you're a dermatology clinic, then, you know, that's what you're going to say, that you're a dermatology clinic and you specialize in, I don't know, Botox or whatever it happens to be. And you could also, if you know, it's just 2 or 3 lines, but you could also say why y'all chose that if you wanted to, but just 2 or 3 lines to go there to give me an idea of what I'm fixing to read. Then your marketing highlights, you're going to pull that from the proposal back section. Now, some of this stuff can be bulleted, but other parts will have to be written in paragraph form. But if you can bullet it, I'm okay with that. Marketing highlights are what are you going to use mainly? What's going to be the main way you're going to market your company? Your target market summary. So how are you going to find out who your target market is? And what are you going to use to zero in on them and get them to come to you? We'll talk about this more in the back. Your competitive analysis. Now, this one is one that people get messed up on a lot of times, and I don't know how to say it any other way, but this is a real company. Your competition has to be a real company in the area that you're opening your business. So, and I don't want 3 or 4. You choose one that would be your main competitor. If you're opening a wellness spa, then you're going to find the one that's either by location, closer, or by what they offer, you know, whoever you think would be your main competitor if you open up your business. And then you're going to find out all the information about that company. And we'll talk about that in the back in that section. Your key marketing strategies. That's just what are the ones, the main ones, the most, the ones that are your most important ones that, you know, it's going to really bring the business to you. It might just be 2 or 3. Your operational highlights, that just talks about what is going to make your company run. You know, what about, what are the hours you're going to hold? Who is going to lead the company? You know, all the things that would be important for how your company is going to run. That's your operational highlights. Are you going to depend on insurance? Are you going to be a company like a plastic surgery that can't really depend on insurance because at least, in California for sure, a lot of plastic surgery is a want, not a need. So insurance is not going to pay for it. So what is the main purpose of your company or operational highlights? Intermediary concerns or issues, that's something that would happen that might stop you from opening or might cause you concerns as you're opening. What kind of issues? This could be like money to open. That could be a concern because maybe you want to open a MRI clinic and you don't have $1 million, so how are you going to address that? Maybe you want to open a clinic or a type of clinic that is already saturated in the area that you're at. So how are you going to address the concern? What is going to make the people come to you instead of going to them? So these are like immediate concerns that could cause you problems. Not long term. This is like immediate, getting yourself open. Your management team, I don't need names. I don't want you to tell me who the people are going to be. But I need to know who your management team is in terms of titles. Like you'll have a CEO, and maybe it's a small company, maybe the CEO will be the CFO also. Maybe your receptionist will also be your file clerk. So how many people are you going to have on your management team? And keep in mind that you're going to have to pay these people. So, you want to be very conservative in what you put in this area. Financial highlights at the back, we're going to talk more about about your financial highlights and what you'll be responsible for. But basically, this is how much money do you intend to borrow? How much, or maybe you're intending to open up a clinic and there's 3 doctors opening it and they're going to put their own money in. Maybe if you think of some grant you can get, like if you're trying to open up a free clinic on Venice Beach, or somewhere, then, if you think there's a grant that's available, you're going to have to find that grant and tell me what the name of that grant is. If you think you're going to get money from some organization or from the bank, then that's part of your financial highlights. How much money do you think it's going to take to start it up? And we'll talk about this more in detail, so don't panic yet. Those kinds of things are financial highlights. And then other unique concerns. Some businesses have concerns that are specific to them. For instance, if you are, again, wanting to open up some sort of like a scanning. Well, years ago, I had a group decide they were going to have a portable ultrasound where they would have a van that was equipped to do ultrasounds for pregnant women. So, their theory behind it was that a lot of times women that are pregnant, they may have 3 little ones already at home. So in this van, they had everything it took, and they would go to them, park in their driveway. They kept a person on staff that would go into the house for that 20 minutes or whatever it took and take care of the other children. It was a pretty good idea. It's a pretty good plan. But some of their concerns were like keeping the vans running, being sure that everybody was licensed and certified, that you're going to provide a babysitter or a caregiver, so there's special concerns specific to the company you're trying to open. Now, remember, this is the executive summary. So now as we actually get into the actual proposal, then you've got, my computer's acting up, the type of organization. What type of organization is it? Is it going to be a wellness clinic? Is it going to be a wellness spa? I had one group that did an oxygen bar in a mall. Is it going to be like a plastic surgery or dental clinic? What type of organization is it? Then you need to name it. Be sure you name it something that people are going to know what it is. because I'll tell you, sometimes I'm driving down the street and I see a new store opening or something. I'll say, wonder what that is, and I have no clue. So even if I could use that store, I wouldn't know because I wouldn't know by the name. Like I was in Ocala, Florida 2 days ago, and I was driving down some highway, and I saw a store called Truck Shop. And it wasn't one that worked on trucks because there were no bay doors. And I thought to myself, I wonder what that is. I wonder if they have all kinds of things I could put on my pickup, And I still don't know what it was. I couldn't find it online. It's crazy. But it was literally called Truck Shop. So I figured it must be all kinds of cattle guards and all kinds of things. But anyway, be sure that you make a name. Be sure your name tells the person that's looking at it what kind of company it is, what you're doing. The hours of operation. Think about this. Don't just put 8 to 5 up there. Can't remember if I've told this class or not, but there used to be a pediatric clinic in Tampa that they looked at their target market and did some surveys and found out that the hours were extremely important for working mothers and fathers. It was really difficult for many parents to take off work to do well baby checks and to get the shots and all those kind of things in the 8 to 5 situation. They had either had trouble getting off or they had to take time off and it cost them money, whatever it happened to be. So this group of doctors decided that they would keep unusual hours, and their clinic was open. I believe it was Thursday to Monday, and they would open on some days. They would open at 6 a.m. and on other days they stay open in till 9:30 or 10. They had regular business days on Saturday and Sunday, so you could take your child in. Everybody was able to get a slot that wouldn't affect their work. They were doing a land office business. They had more business than they knew what to do with. So when you look at your business, think about what would make you most appealing to your target group. Okay, the scope of your service line, that is what services you're offering. And this link will show you some examples of what that entails. But what you're basically doing is telling us what you're going to do, what you're going to offer there. If you're a plastic surgery or some type of clinic like that, what is your main, let's see, what about somebody that specializes, we'll do something specialized in losing weight. So what are the main services that they're going to offer? Pills, Ozempic, what is that thing it's called when they put that band in your stomach? Bariatric surgery. So what exactly do you offer? And so you can look at examples to see, but that's what goes there. Now your clients served, that's basically your target market. If you are a plastic surgery / my mind is really not working tonight, it's late, clinic that, and you cater to people who can afford to pay cash, because oftentimes these things that are for weight loss are not covered by insurance, and less is getting covered all the time. So your clients served are probably going to be upper middle class. You're probably going to be located in an upper middle class area. Probably, typical age, maybe, 30 to 50 or 60, whatever it happens to be. But you can do a little research on the web and find out who are the people that most often go into these weight loss type clinics, if that's what you're doing. The location of clinics. Now, this is really important. I would say you just want one clinic. You don't want more, because that's just more work for you. But you're going to have to find a real building and a real location somewhere. I know I had one group one time found a place in Phoenix that was they wanted to open a long-term care facility, and they found a nursing home that had gone out of business. And, so it was pretty well set up the way they needed it. But you still have to get all the information. So you need an address, you need a floor plan. And if you get one that is like on one of the business realty sites, they'll usually have a floor plan. You're going to take that floor plan and you're going to put on each little box that shows you what the rooms are, what you're going to put in that room. You're going to design your actual business. You can't just come up with some floor plan. Now, in the event that you are unable to find a floor plan, there will usually be a description of what rooms are there and the size of the rooms, because you also need dimensions on the room. There are lots of free pieces of free software out online that you can create your own floor plan if you need to, with the information that it would have telling you how many square feet and how many rooms and how big the rooms are. Okay, again, it has to be a real place, has to be a real building, and you need a floor plan with dimensions and names of the rooms. Now, then you're just going to describe the business, what it is, and what you provide. Now, this is the easiest question in the whole thing. Are you profit or nonprofit, for profit or nonprofit? Really, I'm going to tell you right now, every business must make money. So this profit doesn't mean that you don't make any money. This nonprofit. It's strictly a designation that used by the IRS and other entities, I'm sure, that if you're a nonprofit, the money you have left over at the end of the year, after you pay all your bills and all your salaries and everything you need to pay, the money that's left over has to go back into the business. It does not go to shareholders. If you're for profit, the money that's left over gets divided among the shareholders. So that's a very simplified version of what it means, but that's kind of basically what it boils down to. Okay, now that is your company profile. Do I have any immediate questions over the company profile? Are we okay? And remember, I can't see you. You're going to have to holler. Okay. Guess we're good. Industry overview. This is one thing that when they're looking to lend you money, that they really do look at, because they need to know that business that you're opening, that you know what's going on out there in the real world. What kind of social changes are going on that might affect your business? And, social changes can have a lot of different effects in a lot of different ways. For instance, it used to be that if people got facelifts, let's say, it was really kind of, people were like, oh, like, oh my, why are they doing that? It was kind of not really something you advertised that you did. In today's world, at least in California, people, it's like a normal thing. I was shocked when I came here from Texas that, they have plastic surgeons on speed dial. But, like the way that people look at plastic surgery is very different than they looked at it 30 years ago. So it's a lot, the looks towards it are very different. So, and there's other kinds of things that change also, that society changes the way they look at it. So what are some of the social changes? This article, there's a couple articles here, I think, and it gives you more examples of types of social changes, how things change. Now, healthcare is the most regulated business there is. I mean, you're regulated by the hospital, by the city, by the county, by the state, and by the federal government. So the regulations come in all kinds of forms and fashions. Economic reimbursement. Every time we change, like regimes, like Democrat to Republican, Republican back to Democrat, you get all kinds of, this is what we're going to pay for, this is not what we're going to pay for. So things change. You need to be on top of those kinds of things. In this, though, if you're running, let's say you're going to do a free clinic, basically. Now, it's not really free, because you're going to have to get that money somewhere. to pay for the people who work there, to pay for the medications you distribute, and the whole works. So you're going to have a good idea of what let's say, for instance, Medi-Cal, I guess that was called, will pay for, and what they won't pay for. What the variety of government services that they have that help people who can't afford care. What will they pay for, and how will you be reimbursed? So there are examples on here that you can look at, but are there any changes, very current changes that would affect how you would get your money if you were depending on that? Demographic changes, there's all this. Well, a good example I can think of, in China, they would only let you have one child, but now their population has dropped a lot. So there's a different kind of rule in place. I can't remember exactly what it is, but they don't have that only one child, rule that they had at one time. And that's because demographic changes, on how many children were being born to families. Other demographic changes could be where the population is living. Let's say that you have a clinic in a population where there's a lot of apartments and where a lot of families with small children, and then for some reason they start moving out. They leave that area and it becomes industry, or it becomes something else that does not really have the kind of target that you used to have before. Demographic changes can affect so many different kinds of things. So there's examples there that you can look at and see how demographic changes could possibly affect the business you're wanting to open. Okay, healthcare delivery changes. Boy, that is vast. Since COVID, we have gone from, they used to have, I think, ZocDoc prior to COVID. Now there's all kinds of delivery that you can have by healthcare that you never have to leave your house. By the same token, let's say 50 years ago, doctors actually made house calls. I know y'all might find that hard to believe, but they would make house calls in the mornings. They would come to your house, and then they would have office hours in the afternoon. And then all that went away. But now they're swinging, the pendulum has swung back to the other way. And there's actually doctors who are making house calls, and they have most of their services in a van, and they come to your house. It's a lot more expensive than it was 50 years ago, but they do have now services that will come to your house. Full-fledged doctors will come to your home. Other types of delivery changes is they have like wrecked vehicles, and they'll come to the neighborhood that you're at, maybe park in a Publix parking lot or whatever. So how will healthcare delivery changes affect your business? Again, here we are with regulatory and political changes. Just find a few that might possibly affect your business. If there is something that that the regulations could possibly cause you a lot of trouble, some type of political change. Maybe you're running an abortion clinic or want to run some sort of a abortion clinic or something, a free choice clinic, something like that. Then that can just swing the other way quickly if there's political changes. So the business you're opening, it's probably got some sort of regulatory or political thought behind it that you need to look up and see, if it's going to affect your business. Now, key success factors in your segment of the industry. These can be bulleted, and you will find these in places like Glassdoor, the Federal Job Bureau, Labor Bureau, the Labor Bureau, different places like that. You can look up what are the success factors in whatever part of the business you're trying to go into. And they're there for almost every kind of business, the healthcare business. The next one is barriers to entry. There's a lot of things that can stop you from being able to get your business up on its feet. It can be competition. It can be money. Not having the money to get started. It can be the licensing that you need. In order to get started, maybe you're trying to do some sort of specialty that there's only 5 doctors in all of California. How are you going to lure them in? One of them. So what are some of the barriers to entry in your segment of the industry? And again, that link, and these links all worked at the beginning, but when the semester started, if any of them have gone bad, let me know, and I'll try to find you some other links. Then there's barriers to exit. You can't, a lot of times people think, well, it's not working, I'm losing money, I'm just gonna, shut down. Well, if you have patients in the pipeline that insurance companies or the government or anybody has given you any money for, you cannot just close your doors. You will be sued. You need to find a place that those patients can continue their care. You need to, you have to have a plan for exit. You can't just decide, I'm losing money, I'm out of here. You have to have a plan. And barriers to exit could be, your lease is 2 years and you've only been in there a year. Your equipment is leased. Besides just not having a place for your patients to go, there's all kinds of things that can stop you from shutting your business down. All right, questions on that section. And we can look at this again next week if y'all want to think about it, but questions on industry overview. Now there's an example of a very well done one. It's a little old, so the APA might not be on spot on, but it's on Canvas under group examples or something on the module page. Okay, excuse me just a second. Okay. Service overview. What are the unique features or benefits that you offer? What makes your company, your service different from the competition? What would make it want your target market to come to you as opposed to go to somebody else? And it can be all kinds of unique things. For instance, I know there's a plastic surgery clinic. I think it's in Newport Beach, but one of the services they have is they will guarantee anonymity. They will pick you up in a limo, bring you in a back garage type area so no one ever sees you. Everyone that works there is under some sort of a non-disclosure. So that's one of the things that makes them very appealing to like wealthy people, movie stars, people who don't want it to get out what they're doing. So it doesn't necessarily have to be medical. But typically it will be the services that you offer, but it can also be the side benefits. And what value does it offer to your key market, target market? What would make them want to come to you and not go to your competitor? And then what are the benefits of this new service proposal? So how does it help these people? Your target market group. And then how is it positioned against existing services? That would be your competitor. And this one, you could have other competitors also, not just your main one. But how are you positioned against services from other companies that are offering it? For instance, if you are a orthopedic surgeon, do you have have you managed to get the best orthopedic surgeon in Western United States and probably better than anyone else in the area? Do you offer better hours? Do you have brand new equipment that maybe the other places don't have? And then what do you do differently? And this could be a lot of different things. It could be customer service. It could be the hours that you offer. It could be follow-up. What are you doing differently that typically isn't done in your line of business? Now, this is what I was telling you about earlier. You have to choose one competitor And you're going to go on their website and you're going to describe what they offer. And it can be bulleted, but it can also be paragraph form. Now, in this case, the reference would be the website or someone who posted information on the website. So remember, you have to have 18 references. Now, what makes them different? You can tell by looking, they'll probably talk about what makes them different. What makes them different from everybody else and possibly from you. You've all seen SWOT analysis done. It's one of the best ways to figure out, where their weaknesses are, and can you capitalize on those weaknesses and make them your strengths. So what is their point of differentiation from you? And what real value do they deliver to the customers that others do not? Maybe they take more insurance companies. Maybe they have extended payment plans. Maybe they do have an exceptional experts in the field. Maybe you can get an appointment with them the same day. Whatever it happens to be, but you can tell from the website, and you can tell by looking at the reviews from the website and from other places. There's a number of different companies that review medical facilities and medical caregivers, as well as your typical Yelp. I mean, they will talk about you there too. Then you're going to describe their customer profile. They will tell you, you can tell by their about or whatever section happens to be, who is their typical customer. Then you can go and you can look at the reviews again, and you can see what their typical customer appears to be. There's all kinds of places you can probably Google it in AI and just say, who is the typical customer for this business? Some of this stuff I'm okay with you using AI, but be sure that you notate it. And I don't want you using AI for everything. Something like this, it can pull the stuff up really fast, the reviews for them. And then just be sure you know where AI got it. Then you're going to detail their pricing strategy. So you're going to just kind of give an overall, you don't have to say, okay, for Botox it's $200 and, this and this and this, but give an overall idea of what their pricing strategy is. And do they have a different cost if you have insurance than if you don't have insurance? Like I have a dermatologist that doesn't take our insurance, but he gives a cut to people who have insurance, but he doesn't take it, So what is their pricing strategy? And you can usually tell that by the website. Okay, how do they market? What you're going to find a lot, if it's one of the older companies, is that they're word of mouth. They really don't market anywhere. They've just been really good at what they've done, and they've been doing it a long time. And, and so it's, they strictly get it from referrals. Others, you'll see billboards about them. Or they might have flyers. You might see them advertised, on baseball walls or something, what is their marketing or advertising approach? And why do customers use them? And there's a lot of different reasons. When you look at, what they deliver to the customer, that might be some of the same answers. Why do they use them? Well, they offer them, they can pay it out, they can get, appointments the same day. They're very, maybe when you go into the store or into the office, they remember you, they know who you are. It's, you feel like they care. There's all kinds of different reasons. Maybe they offer something nobody else does. Maybe they have some super duper hyped up Botox that's better than any other one. Why would customers use them? Maybe it's the hours that they keep. Maybe you can get an appointment on Sunday morning, but just look and see why customers would use them. Then what are the opportunities and threats to your organization? And that's, like I was telling you, the SWOT, just in your mind, the SWOT analysis. If they offer, they have some outstanding doctor that you can no way find one that is as good or for sure not better, that would be a threat to you. Maybe they offer emergency numbers 24 hours a day, which you can't do. Maybe they have they've got customer loyalty. They've been around for 30 years, whatever it happens to be. But maybe there's some things they don't do. And that's what you need to capitalize on. What is it they don't offer? And, how can you provide that? Because there'll be a certain number of patients who will want that service. And if they can't get it there, they'll come to you. Okay. Again, this is what I was telling you about the place. You have to find a real building with a real address, and you got to have a floor plan. Now, you have to know how much that building's going to cost. Are you going to lease it? And if you lease it, how much is it a month? How much are the utilities typically? And that will, if it's a business lease, that will somewhere in there, it will typically tell you what the utilities typically are. You need to look at upkeep, like who's going to clean it. Like you have to have janitorial service. If you're in one of these real high, like a high-end building, then a lot of that stuff will be provided. It'll all be part of your lease. But if you're in some smaller, like you're going to convert a house or something, then you have to consider all of those things also. And that's going to be part of your monthly cash that goes out. Now, what is the marketing importance or advantage of this location? This is depending on what your business is, this could be like, okay, you've got a building where all of the major highways intersect and they have exits that can get off and get to you. Or if you're a different kind of business, like a free clinic, you're on a bus line, like they get off the bus and there you are. Or maybe you're on the subway line. Maybe you're very close. If you're doing a free clinic, you're very close to the downtown areas where there are numerous homeless encampments. What is the advantage to where you're at that would make this location ideal for you? And does it provide any competitive advantages? That can be a lot of things. If you are trying to think what would be a good one, for example, for this. Let's see, if you're one of the oxygen bars, then it would be really good for you to be located like in a mall, because people will say, oh, I'd like to try that. And they stop by and use it, or whatever it happens to be. If you are a health spa and there's not another health spa for 10 miles, that's a competitive advantage. There's a study done one time, and they said that, for instance, let's say, and this just kind of can brush over to everything, but like, for instance, beauty operators, beauticians, massage therapists, they named off a whole bunch of people. If they move, like they typically will move, like they'll have their own spot with somebody, but then they'll move to another one. If they move more than 3 miles from where they were originally, their customers probably will not follow them. So, what is the advantage, of competitive for where you're at? And if let's say a business moves, then that's going to be to your advantage if you stay put. So look at all the different things that would make you better as far as the location than maybe your biggest competitor. Because I can tell you, any of you that have had me before know that what I would say is, if they don't have parking, I'm not going. So for me, a competitive advantage would be a huge parking lot, whereas another place, maybe you have to park 3 blocks away and leave your vehicle on the street, or whatever it happens to be. Or maybe you offer valet services like some of the hospitals. So there are all kinds of things that will give you a competitive advantage concerning location. And then, are there exit issues using this type of distribution? And there are always some kind of exit issues, like leases. Main thing would be various leases as far as leaving that type of your location. All right. Now we're looking at pricing. You have to look at FTEs. For those of you that aren't familiar with that, that is full-time equivalents. How many full-time employees are you going to have? It could be, maybe you're going to have one full-time physician's assistant, and maybe that person will also double as the one who take like a nurse for a while, or an aide, where they will see you, they'll take your blood pressure, all those kind of things. If they're willing to do it, maybe they would also double for that, because you don't want to hire a bunch of people that you're going to have to support right off the bat. Your CEO could be your CFO also. You've been to businesses before that have very small staff and everybody has a lot of hats that they wear. You just have to see when you're building this proposal, how many people you actually need to get it going. All right, now overhead is anything you cannot bill out. Overhead is what you got to pay every single month, whether you have a single client or not. It is your rent. It is your receptionist, because you can't bill out your receptionist. It's cleaning fees, anything, insurance, anything that you have to pay, period, just because your doors are open, but there's no way you can bill it to an insurance company. That's your overhead. Your margin, and you'll hear that a lot on Shark Tank. I talk about Shark Tank a lot. What is your margin? What percent comes in and what percent goes out? And what is that percent? What's are you sending out a whole lot more than you're bringing in, or vice versa? What is your margin of profit? And then this is a real easy answer. This is low, medium, or high. How much do you cost compared to your competitors or other service providers? If you're about the same, then you're medium. If you have something that makes you special and you charge more, then you would be high. And if you are kind of discount, and work with them, then you would be low. But that's a very easy answer. You just look around at the competitors, see what their prices are, and compare it to what you're going to charge. And, that's the answer, either low, medium, or high. Any questions so far? And I know I'm throwing a lot at you, so we can, again, revisit this next week. Okay, I don't see any hands flying up. All right. Service delivery plan. How are you going to deliver your service? At a building? Are you going to have a van? Even if you think to yourself, wow, if we have a van, we won't have to worry about all the insurances and blah, blah, blah. Even if you choose to have a business that's a van, like maybe you're a medical equipment delivery service, you still have to have a building, because that building is you're going to have somewhere to park the van. You got to have somewhere to keep the equipment that you are delivering. So you still have to have a building, but how are you going to deliver your service? Is it going to be at the building? Are you going to go to them? How are you going to deliver it? Now, this clinical protocols and best practices, you're going to get this either from somewhere like Glassdoor or the Department of Labor, or some of the organizations that, for instance, you can get clinical protocols for nursing from it's the American Medical, AMA, but there's also one professional organization specifically for nurses. So you can find professional organizations that will tell you what the clinical protocols are and what the description of best practices are. Or you can, like I said, go to the Department of Labor, Glassdoor, Becker's Review. There's a lot of places you can find it. All right. You're going to have a cost analysis. This one's got the calculator. Direct versus indirect. Indirect, again, is your overhead. This is everything that you're going to have to pay for, whether you have one single person walk through your door. That's your indirect cost. Your direct cost means you can bill it directly to a client, or directly to the insurance company, or directly to the government, whatever it happens to be. It's billable hours. Now, you're going to have to do a flow chart, and there's lots of software out there that has that you can just fill in the the flow chart. And you're going to, what this one is pretty easy. It's going to show a flow chart of what happens when they first contact you, your customer or your client, and how they flow through your business. Let's say that you're opening up an urgent care center, and maybe the first contact is a phone call or making an appointment on the web. That would be your first contact. Then they would come in and to the door, and that would be the next box. And then what do you do with them after they get there? Do you triage them? That would be one direction. Or if you think they might be contagious, do you send them directly to a room? That would be another connection, another spot. And sorry, okay, look like I had a message. So, and then you take them with that flow chart all the way through their care until they leave you. And so that's what the flow chart shows. And there are examples of that on the module page. And I'm, like I said, I'm happy to, sorry, I'm looking to see what the chat it was I got. It'll take you all the way through, and it'll show you the different stages that you go through. Like, for instance, if you were in an emergency room, it would be like, enter the emergency room, get triage, sit in the waiting room, then go to their exam room. And then the decision there would be, do you get put into the hospital, sent to the hospital, or do you get sent home? You know, like every little box along the way. Who do you get checked by? Do you get checked first by like an aide that checks your blood pressure and stuff at triage? And then do you get a doctor, or do you get the nurse's practitioner? Or, you know, how does it go along the way? What happens as they travel through your business? Okay. Again, this is full-time equivalent requirements. How many do you need? Or who do you need? And the space requirements. And that's the floor plan of space requirements. All right, human resource plans. You're going to tell me how many full-time and versus part-time clinical. There's a huge difference in healthcare between your clinical staff and your non-clinical staff. Sometimes they don't, in small businesses, they won't even have non-clinical. They'll have maybe a nurse's aide that takes care of taking blood pressure and stuff, but also answers the phones and, you know, does filing. So that person would be both clinical and non-clinical. Other times you'll have a clinical person for all the dealing with the patients, and the non-clinical will be the receptionist, appointment maker, file clerk. So decide what you need in your business and just list what their titles are. Then the compensation for each one of them. Sorry, back up here. You need to know the rate. Now I know, and we all know nurses are underpaid, but you can't decide for your business that you're going to give them $500 an hour just because you think they're underpaid. You need to look and see from the Department of Labor what is the typical rate for nurses in wherever you're at, Southern California, wherever it happens to be. What benefits are you going to offer? Are you going to offer benefits? Are you going to say, okay, after you've been here a year, you get, you know, time off or whatever it happens to be, insurance, all those things. Now, if you're under 10 people, I don't think that California requires you to offer group insurance, but you need to look and see what the requirements are for your business for the benefits as far as insurance. Everything else is up to the company and what you can get somebody to work for. You know, like if you get, some companies give like 8 hours a month that you can gain, and that would end up being what, 96, a little over a week for vacation at the end of the year. Other companies give 4 hours a month that you can gain, and they don't give, some companies no longer give sick days. They give just time that you've earned. So it kind of runs into your sick days and vacation time are kind of coming out of the same pot. So you just have to figure out how you want to do it. Then you're going to describe each of the positions that you listed and what the roles and responsibilities are. The description is what the typical job incurs, and the roles and responsibilities are specific roles that person has to do, and those can be bulleted. Like maybe the triage nurse has to take temperature, take the blood pressure, and so forth. And then finally, last thing, this is you're going to have a balance sheet and income statement. And the way you're going to figure out the amounts of money that will go there is any kind of publicly held company, doesn't matter, then their information is public record. So you can find it on the web. So if you are opening up a urgent care, you will be able to find some urgent care facility and their balance statement, their records for the year. And it'll show a typical amount of billing, if they have any loans, but you can massage this. For instance, you'll have to look and see what typical billings would be for an up and coming. Again, AI can help you out for an up and coming new business in whatever it happens to be. The loans, then if you're opening up something that's like involves, let's say 10 doctors, or opening up a clinic that is just going to have everything from birth to death. You know, like they're going to have the gynecologist, the obstetrician, someone specializing in geriatric care and everything. Chances are that they will self-fund that. Let's say they'll each chip in, I don't know, $500,000, what it happens to be. So in that case, you wouldn't be looking for loans, but this would not be a nonprofit. I don't think. I think that would have to be a for-profit because they would want to get back some sort of a dividends. So you do need to do a little research on that also. And expenses paid, what goes out, what expenses are going out. That's your debits from the account. Then your startup costs. Startup costs can be the cost of the lease, the cost of equipment, the cost of, whatever it's going to take for you to open those doors. Those are startup costs. And you just need to research what you need for your type of business and how much the typical costs are. I am not going to hold your feet to the fire and say, no, it's not $200. It's, $250 or whatever it happens to be. These are broad estimations, but you do need to have some basis for it. If I see that you're paying nurses $500 an hour, I'm going to say, oh no, I don't think so. But if it's within reason, it's going to be okay. Just be sure you research it. And I've been doing this long enough to know that I know most of what's in reason. And then what kind of expenses are you going to have for promotional? You may have none. You may decide to do everything with social media, so it may be that you won't have those costs and you can just list everything that's going to be done, through social media and word of mouth and that kind of thing. Your insurance, what is your insurance? You need to find out what insurance is typically going to cost you for your building and for your anything you need to insure medically, maybe a overall liability policy, whatever it happens to be. Okay. Now, I know I probably have just blown your minds, but don't get stressed out. My students that have done this in the past have, at the time, they go, oh my God, how are we going to get this done? But you divide it up 6 ways, and it's really not as hard as it sounds. It's as long as you look at the information and look at the examples, and it will not be as difficult as you think. And in the end, people are always shocked at how much it costs to have your own business. I get a lot of people when I ask them what they want to do when they get out. They say, I want to run my own business. I want to be a consultant. I don't want to work for anybody. And then you look at all the things that you need to take into account and it gives you a double thought because no one really thinks about everything it takes to run your own business. So almost every single student that's ever done this on the review at the end, they all, or many of them say that they found it very enlightening and they were glad they did it, even though it was a lot of work at the time. Questions, anybody? Okay, it is, what time is it? 9 o'clock? Is that right? Let's see, yeah, 9 o'clock. If you need to meet, I'm going to open up the breakout rooms. I'm not going to require you to stay, but if your group needs to meet to work on the contract or anything that you need to talk about this, I am going to open up the breakout rooms for probably 30 minutes. And if you want to join, you can. If your group is tired and doesn't want to, that's okay too. I'm not going to hold it against you. But I want to give you this opportunity to at least get started on it. And, you know, it's up to you whether you want to take advantage of it or not. So the rooms are open. And that is all I have for you tonight. I'm not going to call you back in. I'm just making it available to you. And if you don't, you know, if you're would rather do it another night or whatever it happens to be, that's okay. I'm just making it available. So if I don't have any questions, y'all are either free to go or you're free to go to the breakout room, whatever trips your trigger. Otherwise, I hope you have a great week.
Professor, I have a question about the coming project.
Uh-huh.
Are we presenting that?
Yes, you'll be presenting that the last 2 days of school. And yeah, it'll be the same kind of format. And this actually, what we just did will actually be kind of a training ground for you because I gave some hints on what you need to work on for the next presentation so you don't get knocked out with points.
Okay. And is it gonna be, do you want it like in a PowerPoint presentation or kind of like the
Yes.
Word document? Okay, PowerPoint.
Yeah, what you're going to do is for the proposal, it will be on that form I just showed you. Then I will look at that proposal and give it back to y'all with suggestions on what you need to do to fix it, to make, you know, that you're missing information you're missing. And then you'll take that proposal and turn it into a PowerPoint.
Oh, okay. Okay, so first we turn in the proposal.
Uh-huh.
And
And then you
then,
get it back. Mhm.
okay, and then we make the PowerPoint from there.
Correct.
And like about how many slides would you say?
Typically 3 per person.
Okay.
But, you know, so you don't put every single thing that was in the proposal. You just put the
Okay.
high points. Basically, you kind of expand on the executive summary.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. Because I thought like you wanted like everything on the PowerPoint.
No,
Okay.
only the high points because you're going to have a lot of things in there, like the description of all the jobs and all that. You don't need to put that in there. You can just hit the high points. Like you might say, okay, our CEO is also our CFO, and their main duties are, you know, 1, 2, 3. You know, not like every single thing that's in there.
Okay. And then like I know you talked about floor plans, but how do we get the floor plans?
You'd be surprised if you find your company if you find the building on one of the websites, like I think Century 21, some of them have websites that are for businesses. Just do a search for it. They will furnish floor plans most of the time. And if there isn't a floor plan, you can call the realtor and just, you know, tell them that you'd like to see a floor plan. And most of the time they'll offer it. If they don't, there will be a good description because, you know, or a virtual description, you know, like you'll be able to take a virtual tour of it and you can see how many rooms there are. And I am not, let's say the total square footage is 2,000 square feet and it's got 10 rooms, you know, you can kind of guesstimate. I'm not going to hold your feet to the fire on that either. So if you've got like, you would say like maybe the reception area is going to be, let's say maybe, you know, 10 by 12. but then maybe each exam room is just going to be 6 by 6 or whatever it happens to be. So it doesn't have to be exact if you can't find the floor plan. But you can, there's a lot of software out there that's real easy to create your own floor plan. All you do is you tell it how many rooms and the approximate size, and it will create the floor plan for you. It's not going to be exact a lot of times because, you don't, the software, it won't know. However, you could probably tell it the address and AI might could find it, but I am not going to say, oh no, this is wrong. As long as you have the idea of what you need in a floor plan and name each room for what you're going to use it for and general sizes, I'm gonna be okay with it.
Okay, so another question is, so are we gonna have the PowerPoint and then also we're gonna do like the okay, the proposal, that's a different one, right? But then how you were showing us like the whole project, are we gonna make it like that, like on a Word document first and then
Mm-mm.
turn that? No?
No, all you have to do is take the proposal and I'm not going to have you turn that proposal into a document. It'll just be turned into a PowerPoint. There's just not enough time. That's just way too much, to ask y'all to do, So you're going to have the proposal, which will be answering all those questions. And then you're going to take, once I give it back to you and tell you what corrections you need to make, what you're missing, that kind of thing, you'll take that information and turn it into a PowerPoint that, that you can present to the class, which is like an overall view of your business. I'm not going to ask you for a proposal that you would take to the bank,
Okay, I think I get it.
If you don't, Aurelia, you're welcome to call me or text me and
Okay.
we'll talk about it some more. Like
Okay.
if you get home and you think, oh, I really don't get this. I can tell it to you 45 different ways till you get it.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Other questions? Yes, no, maybe?
Professor, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
It's about the group presentations. It's like towards the end of April. So I was looking at the syllabus and it says group presentations on 4/28 and group presentations on 5/5. Would we we would have those 2 days to present, so either my group would either pick the 4/28 or 5/5?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
There'll be 3 on one day and 2 on the other.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify because I may be out of town for the first date of presentation. So I just wanted to make sure.
Yep. You just have to be there for it would be good if you were there because you got to comment on them, but yes, your group only presents one time.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Other questions?
Good night.
Good night. Joseph, question? Alan, question?
No, Professor, I'm trying to log off here.
Oh, okay. Alan, how about you?
Good night, Professor.
Good night. Kelly, how about you? Questions? Guess nobody wants to go to the room, so I will close them. All right. You seem to be disappeared on me. All right. No one's talking, so maybe you fell asleep. I don't know how you could go to sleep with my Texas accent, but maybe you did. We'll see y'all next week.